You are listening to the Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast, where you discover management insights and strategies for a successful dental practice. There are also interviews with key people in the industry who have advice and services to help you and your team achieve great success. Welcome to episode number 1 of this Julie Parker Practice Success Podcast. How terribly exciting, the very first one. I am thrilled that you have chosen to listen, and I hope that you find the podcast really interesting moving forward. This podcast is designed for people who work in the dental industry, specifically in dental practices. So I'll tell you a little bit about me soon, but just so you know whether you're in the right place, this podcast is going to be a collection of elements. Number 1, some insights and strategies that I've learned through my career and that I teach to my clients. We'll be talking about those moving forward. Also, insights around how we can have a happier experience working in dental surgeries. As you all know, there are so many reasons to become stressed within a dental surgery situation, whether it's centric around patients or around the team that you're working with, or just the challenges of everyday management of a dental practice. And so I'll be discussing some interesting ideas that you may want to implement into your world and therefore get to the end of your working day without having to hit the bottle straight away, and you can actually enjoy yourself for the evening, knowing that you've put a really good hard day's work in and looking forward to the next one. Another element to this podcast is going to be interviewing interesting people. And when I say interesting people, I mean people who are doing it well for whatever reason within the dental surgery situation. It may be that they are a retiring dentist and they're sharing their wisdom that they learned over their decades in the industry. Or it might be somebody who is working within the industry in one of the roles and has some interesting points to share with all of us. I'll also be interviewing experts throughout this podcast journey, whether they're providing services or have particular products that will help you within your dental practice be more successful. What I've noticed is that there is a raft of brilliant people and ideas out there, but often it is difficult to learn about what they're doing and discover what they have to offer. And so I'll be interviewing a whole bunch of people in different areas that can help you in your dental practice management. I'll have some regular guest appearances as well. One of the regular guests is going to be co-founder of Julie Parker Practice Success, Charles Coves. Now, Charles and I are actually married, and Charles has been Australasia's passion provocateur for the past 25 plus years. Prior to that, he'd been a lawyer for 23, 24 years until he decided to start teaching people how to function from a space of passion, tap into their passion and live a more passionate life. He has got brilliant insights and ideas on how to live a life that you feel much more in control of and that you are actually on the path to something worthwhile. I'll certainly be sharing throughout the episodes of the podcast elements of what Charles teaches and how I've applied it to my life, and it certainly has been an enormous improvement for me. So Charles will be coming on a regular basis. He's got a wealth of information around business as well, so he'll be coming on board as a co-host on various episodes to offer his magnificent advice. Another regular contributor will be Amina Basal. She is, like me, a dental management consultant, and she and I have been buddies for a number of years now. Together, combined, we established Dental Business Mastery, and within Dental Business Mastery, we do things like our Dental Biz Mastermind, where a group of like-minded people come together and start to share and help each other on the journey to greater and greater success within our dental surgeries. And also, Dental Business Mastery conduct live workshops and seminars, conferences for the dental industry, such as the one that we've got coming up at the end of July, a 2-day conference for new dental practice startups. Amina is also a great one. I love collaborating with her and sharing ideas on how we approach things differently, but all to achieve greater levels of success within the dental surgeries that we work with. And I'm thrilled that Amina is going to be coming on board every now and again as a regular guest contributor. But a little bit about me. So my name is Julie Parker. Some of you may have been bombarded with my emails in the past, and I hope it's not getting too over the top. And I certainly hope you see value in some of the things that I send through to you. My history, when I was young, I wasn't thrilled about turning up to school every day, so they encouraged me to move on at the start of year 11. And at that time, we're talking mid to late 80s, the choices that I had in front of me were either going down the path of hairdressing or down the path of dental assisting. And so I chose dental assisting, and I have to say I've loved every moment of it ever since. I started out as a dental assistant, then moved through the usual roles into reception and patient coordinator and a bit of practice management. But my real journey of growth came in 2003 when I was 33, when I became the first non-dentist to buy a practice in Australia. And I bought it down here in Victoria, Melbourne, in a suburb called Brighton, from a dentist named David. And he was a lovely, generous fellow, because not being a dentist, I found it difficult to have banks happy to loan me the money for the practice that I'd chosen. And David was very generous to me and allowed me to pay off over terms, which I ended up paying it off sooner than those terms, which he was happy about and I was certainly relieved about. But during my 10 years of practice ownership, I sold it in 2013. I enjoyed it immensely, and I have to say, when I embraced all of the elements of the journey, which had the potential to cause great stress and discomfort within me, and they certainly did cause great stress and discomfort. But when I recognized that it's all part of it, you can't own a business and have it be smooth sailing. It's filled with bumps in the road and barriers to your success and overcoming things, and you have to think creatively and innovatively and do twists and turns in order to achieve the kind of success that we all want to achieve when we set out and to own our own business. And so there are a number of stories that I'm going to share from my dental ownership days that hopefully you'll gain value from, and hopefully amusement from as well, because strange things happen to all of us in dental surgeries, don't they? But the important thing is that we recognise that it is a journey. We never quite get there. We never get perfect at team management or patient understanding or self-awareness. It's always going to be an ongoing journey, but it's a wonderful ongoing journey. That decade of practice ownership sparked inside of me a desire just to get better and better, because my enjoyment and my experience of practice ownership was far more improved when I embraced that improvement journey. So I'll be touching on various elements that I hope that you find interesting over the coming episodes. After I owned the practice for 10 years, I sold it. It was prompted by one of the many changes in life that come to some of us, ending of a marriage and sparking off onto a new career path. And that's when I started practice management consulting. And that, of course, sparked another enormous learning journey. I mean, when I started owning the dental practice that I owned, Dendy Village Dental, I knew nothing about business. I knew very little about team management. I knew very little about marketing to the kind of client base that I wanted to attract into the practice. But upon reflection, of course, that's 10 years, it was just filled with learning. And so I thought, fantastic, the next 10 years will be filled with learning, doing something different. So soon after I sold the practice, I had met Charles and we started Julie Parker Practice Success. He had been in that space of consulting and coaching for a number of years. And so I had a wonderful source of information to help me. And the products and service that I offer have evolved over time. It has moved from being on-site quite consistently with practices more on a daily basis. And it's morphed into all the kind of different programs that dental practices need, because all of their situations are so unique. The number of staff they have, the amount of time they can devote to team training. Sometimes it can't be team training, it has to be one-on-one training. And more recently, over the last few years, they've been interstate, and so it's moved to more of an online space. More recently, what I've been devoting a lot of energy to is the JPPS membership, which is called The Club. And The Club started as a no-charge service to dental practices when COVID hit back in March last year. And I started The Club in April. We had dozens of dental practices involved, and we were all just gaining our footing together on how to maneuver through this COVID, PPE, new guidelines, new systems, lockdowns, opening up again, different levels of operation. That whole space, we were moving through it together. And as dental practices got back to a sense of normality, then the offerings of the club became general dental practice management, and it's been wildly successful. I've really enjoyed establishing and moving forward with all of the club members, and what it has morphed into is a weekly lunch and learn that gets sent out to all members every Wednesday. And so every Wednesday you get into your inbox a lunch and learn presentation. It normally runs for anywhere between half to 1 hour. I do try to restrict it down to the half hour as much as possible, because the plan is you pay your team for their lunch break once a week. That once a week, they spend the first half watching the presentation of a new insight, a new idea that you can implement within your dental practice to achieve greater success. It might be success around team management, team communication, business management, or patient management. It could even be a self-awareness step to master another element that we move through when we're talking about the operations of a dental practice. And then the second half of their lunch break, they talk about how they can implement this particular lesson into the operations of your dental practice. Not every topic is going to be relevant to you. You end up cherry picking, because they come out every single week. You end up cherry picking what you find is relevant for you guys at the moment. And so setting the lunch and learns up in that way has been a great success. If you don't have time or your team aren't on board for it every single week, then pick a topic and do it once a month, or pick a topic and do it once every couple of months, once a quarter. Just as long as there is regular training for your team, you'll help develop and maintain a growth mindset within your team members, and your practice will consistently improve all the time, because the members within your team are consistently learning new things all the time. So the club has been a really enjoyable service to provide. And if you are interested in learning more about that, just go to the website julieparkerpracticesuccess.com and go to the page labelled The Club. And you will see the whole library of past lunch and learn topics that are available to members. And you can also click on a link that takes you straight through to registration. It's only $49 a month, so why on earth wouldn't you? So thanks for joining me on this first episode of the Julie Parker Practice Success podcast. Moving forward, the episodes, they're going to be coming out every week. They may be 20 minutes, they may be an hour, depending on what I'm talking about and who I am interviewing. If you have any ideas or feedback that you'd like to send through to me, please do. Everything is welcome. The email address is julie@julieparkerpracticesuccess.com.au. And until next time, have a very groovy week. Hey, if you enjoyed listening to this episode, you should join the club. The club members receive an online lunch and learn every week, where I share insights, systems and strategies to improve the success of your practice. These lunch and learns could not be easier. They are recordings, so you can watch them at a time that suits you. Members also have full access to the library of all of our past topics. The price is just $49 per month, and it is a powerful and effective way to upskill your team. I hope to see you there.